There is an age-old adage that you shouldn't take money advice from someone who is broke. So whilst many people look to the rich and famous for their money tips, we're going to go a level beyond that. So in this video, we're going to be going through some of the most important financial lessons that you can learn from some of the biggest companies in the world. Why take lessons from people who are worth millions or even billions when we could learn lessons from the people who look after trillions? Because after 15 years of working in finance and investing, these are the ones which I think make the most sense and which have made the biggest impact on my finances. It's more than just an iPhone. Let's take a look at this graph here. This shows Apple's revenue. Now, you might look at it and at first glance think that, well, all looks well in the world. The numbers keep going up and up and up. And to some extent that's true. But when you overlay the iPhone sales, you might start to see what the problem is and it becomes a bit more obvious. Yes, in 2015, nearly 2/3 of all Apple revenue came from a single product, the iPhone. So Apple decided that they needed to do something about this. So what did they decide to do? Well, in 2015 we got Apple Music. In 2016 we got the AirPods, in 2017 we got the HomePod, in 2019 we also had the Apple Card, and we also had Apple TV Plus. In 2020 we got Apple Fitness Plus. You get the idea. Apple identified that having so much of their revenue coming from a single product was probably not going to be a great idea. And your own personal finances should be no different. So having multiple income streams can be one of the most important aspects when it comes to building wealth. And there's even empirical evidence to support this. According to a report from the IRS, the average millionaire has not one, not two, but 7 different sources of income. That's right, 7 streams of money flowing into their bank accounts, building their net worth and securing their financial future. The $100,000 olive. It's about 30 years ago, American Airlines had this, I don't know, cheap or great idea. They basically had this cost-saving idea. Through their analysis, they basically worked out that by removing a single olive from every passenger's salad, they would save the equivalent of $100,000 per year. Another example, in 2002, the Sears catalogue had been the cornerstone of the company's business for decades, serving as a major marketing tool. But to save money, they gradually decided to trim it by a few pages every single year. And this small change led to them saving $20 million per year. Less paper to print on, less ink to print, fewer trucks to haul catalogues around. Just before people take this too far, I'm not for one moment saying you need to go to some of these extreme lengths of penny pinching to be frugal or eating leftovers or cold baked beans. But what I am saying is find the things that are important to you, the things that really bring you joy to your life. And if money allows, spend a little bit more on those. And then in every other aspect of your life, cut costs aggressively. But the key thing is make sure you're spending the money on the things that you want to spend your money on. Big budget, little budget. In the early 2000s, Ford was facing a few financial difficulties, including declining sales and mounting debt. To address these challenges, what did they do? Well, let's see what the Ford CEO, Alan Mulally, who served as Ford's CEO from 2006 to 2014, said about it. And we did all that through a disciplined budgeting process. Just like big companies, you and I should be creating budget to track income and expenses and make adjustments as we move through life or our circumstances change. Budgets are self-care. You work hard for your money, and if it fits into your budget, you deserve that latte, that espresso machine, that meal out, that weekend away, providing it doesn't compromise your financial goals. People will often fall into one of two categories. They will tend to overthink, overplan, and overanalyze with very complicated and convoluted budgets, or they literally just do nothing. The truth is, there is a happy middle ground. You should spend no more than 50% of your after-tax income on your needs. Roof over your head, food on the table, fixed debts, all that sort of thing. Spend 30% on your wants. This is your guilt-free spending, your dinner out with friends, your date night every month. And finally, invest and save the remaining 20%. Would you rather go out and spend money without knowing if you're going to have money left at the end of the month? Or would you rather go out and spend the money on the things that you want to spend your money on, safe in the knowledge that you've already made a contribution that month to your future self? The Dutch sandwich. This is not an off-the-menu Subway item. This is a tax avoidant technique used by big US tech firms that involves a complicated tax arrangement of transferring income between Dutch and Irish legal subsidiaries to avoid paying corporation tax. And it's legal. This is reportedly used by Facebook, Amazon, Apple and Google, to name but a few, and it is estimated that they have saved billions of dollars in taxes by using this and other tax avoidance methods. But you might be thinking, what's the personal finance lesson here? Well, the short answer is taxes are one of the biggest expenses you'll have to pay across your life. So doing what you can do legally being the key word here, to pay less in taxes is always going to be a worthwhile way to spend your time. This might include things like using your pension correctly, using tax advantaged accounts like the ISAs here in the UK or the Roth IRAs in the US, making sure you're getting paid in the most tax efficient way. But let's not forget, taxes are complicated and everyone's circumstances are different, so make sure you're seeking advice from a recommended, qualified and licensed professional. Every little helps. So in 2014, the behemoth that is Tesco was rocked by an accounting scandal. This is also the year after the horse meat scandal, and honestly I don't know which is worse, but never mind. And they had basically overstated their profits for the year by £263 million due to an accounting error in its treatment of supplier rebates. These rebates were recorded prematurely and that inflated their profits while the company was already struggling with declining sales. So what did they do? They fired people, they suspended a few others, restated their financials, paid £129 million in fines, hired a new CEO and started their new strategic turnaround plan, putting financial controls at the centre of it. And now Tesco continues to be the largest supermarket in the UK by quite some margin, I might add, and its share price has more than doubled since then. How does this apply to me? And the short answer is, companies have very strict financial policies, and in personal finance, having your own rules for saving and investing and spending and helps create consistency and some financial discipline. And as we always say on this channel, it's the consistent application of good financial habits that is going to be one of the most important factors in building your wealth over the longer term. So applying rules to yourself about when and how you spend your money, when you budget, how often you review it, can be a really powerful way to make sure you are doing it consistently and that you're staying on the right track. ChatGPT of payments. So it turns out now that if you submit an invoice to Microsoft, chances are your invoice will be processed by their new AI system. Microsoft uses AI-powered optical character recognition technology to automatically capture invoice data. The AI is trained to recognize and extract the key information and then process the payment. And this has meant that Microsoft has reduced their invoice processing time by over 50%. Freeing up their finance team for more important and strategic tasks. And Microsoft is no exception. Companies automate all kinds of tasks like payroll, supply chains and customer services. And let me ask you this, how often do you forget to put the bins out or tax your car or get some milk from the shops? And what if you could automate those tasks and your money is no different? People can automate their savings, bill payments and investments to make sure you're consistently abiding by these and to prevent you from missing payments. Having automated payments, contributions to retirement accounts and investment allocation will simplify your financial life and reduce the likelihood of impulsive spending. And this just goes beyond direct debits for utilities and TV license, but also making sure that you're saving and investing regularly. And as with the previous one, it also makes sure that you're working on your money goals consistently rather than just when you remember. If you have to rely solely on your memory, then your financial future may well be in trouble because your memory can definitely move the furniture around sometimes. Now, if you've liked this video, please consider subscribing. We are a small and growing finance community. Subscribing doesn't cost you a penny and you can always unsubscribe later if you think I'm talking absolute nonsense. So what's the key takeaway here? I think the key thing for me is that so much of the personal finance information that's out there is based around the individual, and that makes a lot of sense. But I also think you can start to pull financial lessons from all aspects of your life, and looking at how large companies manage their finances and then applying them to your own finances can be a really good way of making sure you're on the right track. Thanks very much for watching.